Flesh and Blood, a card game that has some of the most expensive cards in the world, with some cards and tournament decks going for thousands of dollars. For this reason, people mistakenly think the game is too expensive to play. We are gonna prove them wrong. In this series, we create some of the most powerful budget decks that are able to win events for the price of some pocket change. Welcome to Budget Bonkers.
Hello everyone and welcome to Budget Bonkers episode 3. On this episode, we're taking a look at Armory deck Origins Hala and how to make it competitively viable on a budget. Hala is an up and coming hero that hasn't seen much success for now, but all of that will undoubtedly change with the upcoming Mastery Pack Warrior, which will provide a boost to all warrior heroes, including Hala. Even without that, Hala is already a viable contender in a meta that will only get more relevant with time. Since she has almost no living legend points, she is a great hero to invest in long term. Hala is a hero that reads Action, pay 3 and tap, sharpen target sword, which means you put a +1/+1 counter on that sword, but all counters go away at the end of the turn. This has synergy with her weapon Zenith Blade, which is a weapon that attacks for 3 for the cost of 1 resource. Its first attack gets go again when it's sharpened this turn. On face value, a Hala activation gives us a +1 buff on our weapon and go again, but you can only attack with the weapon once, so 4 resources for an attack for 4 isn't great rate. Luckily, the Armory deck provides us with some tools to combat this. The strongest card in the Hala deck is undoubtedly Edict of Steel. It provides a sharpen, meaning the sword gets a counter and go again, but it also creates a flurry token when we meet the second condition. Flurry reads as follows: when you activate the weapon attack, destroy this and you may attack with the weapon twice this turn. And with this we get the full picture. Sharpen the sword, make a flurry token, attack twice with the sword to get maximum value out of the sharpen mechanic. Edict of Steel is the best card for Hala, so of course we will be running all 9 copies. Red Edict of Steel gives us a flurry just for playing it, which makes it the easiest to activate, but the yellow and blue copies require 2 and 3 +1 counters respectively, so they need some extra help. Luckily, the Armory deck provides this for us, with cards like Brimming Blade, Swordsmaster Spot, Sharp Incline, Indefensibly Honed, and Visit the Dawnsmith. When looking at this deck, it's clear that Hala will be a mid-range deck, meaning that she won't be able to fully utilize her cards on offense, but that she can put out great numbers when combining a couple cards offensively while blocking for good rates with others. The Armory deck itself provides a strong foundation to build on, but to make it truly competitive we need a little bit more sauce. It's time to look at some budget upgrades. At this time, Flurry Generation isn't widely available, since it was only introduced with this Armory deck, so we need to think of more ways to utilize Hala's ability. After we sharpened and attacked with Zenith Blade, we still have 2 resources floating if you pitch 2 blues. We can utilize those resources to play a 2-cost attack action, for example. Fully tuned decks will utilize cards like Command and Conquer, but on a budget, red and blue Sirens of Safe Harbor packs quite a punch. If we have 2 blues and a Sirens of Safe Harbor, we can sharpen Zenith Blade, attack for 4 go again, and then play Sirens of Safe Harbor. This results in 10 damage and 1 life gained for a total of 11 value with 3 cards. For the same reason, I've elected to include a favorite of mine, One Pursuit of Knowledge. You don't have to include this one and can opt to just run the 3rd Visit the Dawnsmith instead. Other cards we're adding to the main deck are Sigil of Solace Red, Slice and Dice Red, and Display of Craftsmanship Blue. Sigil is a flexible card that can help us convert bigger hands and is a great turn 0 play. Slice and Dice is 4 offensive value on a flurry turn, and Display of Craftsmanship is a great tool in endgame scenarios. We're moving Deadly Display Red and Gleam of the Blade to the sideboard, and we're cutting the following cards from the deck: Polished Blade, Silver Drop Downpour, Flurry Foot Dance, Sharp Incline Yellow, Deadly Display Blue, and 1 Visit the Dawnsmith if you're running Pursuit of Knowledge. To help with aggro matchups, we're adding Sink Below and Fate Foreseen to the sideboard. These cards are great defensive tools and cheap pickups thanks to their many reprints. Gravy can be a tough matchup, so we're adding 2 Pilfer the Tomb to snipe some allies from Gravy before you can deploy them. Against Fatigue, we're adding 3 Strategic Planning in blue, which can get back Edict of Steel red to the bottom of the deck and refund itself with a card at the end of the turn. For sideboard equipment, we are adding 3 Null Rune pieces in Null Rune Hood, Null Rune Robe and Null Rune Boots. And finally we're adding boosts of Astral Sanctuary to stop one important Flick Knives damage from Arachne Marionette. Let's go over some play patterns for the deck. We've already talked about Edict of Steel Red, but since the yellow and blue variants are a bit harder to trigger, here are some tips. Play Swordsmaster's Path before an Edict of Steel Yellow to double sharpen and get the flurry. The same can be accomplished by activating Reverend Rear Brace. This way you don't have to keep an additional blue to activate Hala for only 2 value. The same can be applied to the blue variant, but for this you will need that extra blue unless you pair it with Brimming Blade Red. This card provides 4 value if you pair it with a Flurry token and already provides 2 of the 3+1 counters you need for Edict of Steel Blue, so try to arsenal one while waiting for the other. If you have a Flurry token lying around, you can make a 1-card play with Sharp Incline and Paragon Plate. Play Sharp Incline and attack with the sword for free. To fund your second attack, use Paragon Plate to remove the +1 counter and make a resource. This results in a 1-card 6 damage if you have Flurry. If you can pick up the Armory deck, our proposed upgrades will only cost you €5.12 comparing card market lowest pricing. Now that's what I call a budget bonker. Hala has a clear upgrade path if you want to invest some more money in her. The first, more pricey upgrade I would look at is Grains of Bloodspill. When you're playing the deck, you'll notice that often you will have a resource floating around that you can't invest this turn. But with Grains, you can carry over that resource to the next turn, where you might be able to use it better. This makes cards like Backside of the Blade and Sharp Incline better, since you don't have to use up a counter on your first attack, but also opens the door to play Display of Craftsmanship Red, which is essentially a 2-cost 6 value reaction when played on your first sword attack with an active Flurry. Grains is soon to be reprinted in Mastery Pack Warrior, so it will probably drop in price even further in the future. Back in Steel from the new Omen set is also a must play for competitive Hala, since it can threaten 6 or more extra damage on hit in reactions. The price for this card is still relatively low, so consider picking it up sooner than later. Valiant Dynamo is a very strong leg piece for any warrior who regularly attacks with 2 weapons. It also gets a reprint in Mastery Pack Warrior, so it might be a worthwhile pickup soon. With Ziggy and other decks with prevention effects on the rise, Jagged Edge is also a very strong sideboard option. The card is still relatively cheap, so I'd suggest picking it up sooner than later. Hala is probably one of the best decks to invest in at the moment, with the coming of Mastery Pack Warrior and more upgrades to come. She's a deck that will only get better when time goes on, so consider giving her a try. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us on Discord. Goodbye and stay bonking.